In the quiet village of Umudike, nestled between ancient hills and thick groves of ogiliside trees, ran a river called Ọmámbala. It wasn't the longest river in Igbo land, nor the widest, but it was the most feared and the most respected. Not because it overflowed its banks or swallowed fishermen. No. Ọmámbala had a different kind of power. It remembered names. People said if you stood at its banks and whispered the name of someone lost, whether to death, exile, or mystery, the river would carry the name in its currents. And one day, it would whisper it back. But the river never forgot. Some said it was a blessing. Others called it a curse. Nkemdilim and the empty stool. The story begins with Nkemdilim, a quiet 17-year-old girl with soft eyes and a silence that weighed like rain clouds. She lived with her mother and two younger brothers in a thatched compound near the edge of the village. Her father, Obiajulu, had disappeared when she was 9. One morning, he went to fetch water from the river, and he never returned. His calabash cup was later found floating upside down in the river, spinning slowly. People called it fate. Her mother called it sacrifice. But Nkem called it something else. Unfinished. Every evening, the family placed a stool beside the fire. Her mother never allowed anyone to sit on it. Years passed. Nkemdilim grew into a young woman, but the river never gave her answers. And the stool remained empty. The whisper of the river on a harmattan morning, when the dust clung to the sky and even the goats moved slowly, Nkemdilim went to fetch water from Ọmámbala. She carried her pot on her head and walked barefoot, humming a tune her father used to whistle. When she got to the riverbank, she knelt by the edge. Ọmámbala, she whispered, you remember names, they say. Then remember this one, Obiajulu, son of Uduka. My father. Where is he? The river rippled. A breeze passed over the water. She waited. Nothing. But as she turned to leave, she heard it. Faint, almost like wind through palm fronds. A voice. Nkemdilim. She froze. Her pot fell and cracked. She looked around. The tree stood still. The river was calm. But the name had been said, her name. As if the river was calling her. She ran home, breathless. Her mother saw her and said, you have seen something. I think. The river spoke, she said. Her mother's face turned pale. Did it say his name? No. Mine. And that night, for the first time in 8 years, her mother allowed the fire to burn without setting the stool. The stranger with familiar eyes. A week later, a stranger arrived in Umudike. Tall, with a walking staff made from Udola wood and eyes like the morning fog, he came from the west. He said his name was Ikochukwu, and that he had no home. He was taken to the Obi of the elders, where he asked if he could work on farms in exchange for yam and shelter.